because of this show, I got banned from Egypt. That's the very clever way for archaeologists to make sure that no criticism can come in of their sites, of their take on things, is just to ban the critic from coming there. I got banned from Serpent Mound in Ohio. Can you imagine that? I mean, Serpent Mound is a national landmark. People should not get banned from going there.
When you say banned, meaning you tried to go there to film or just to visit?
When we approached them to make an episode of my Netflix series at Serpent Mound, initially they were welcoming, and then they heard that Graham Hancock was presenting the series. And immediately they turned around and said, no, filming permission is refused because Hancock's views differ from our own. Well, I was able to make a virtue of that in the sense that I stood at the gates of Serpent Mound, which were closed, and I read out their letter where they say that just because I don't agree with them, they won't allow me access to the site. Fortunately, we have masses of footage, drones and other things, and we were able to do the show. But it shows, again, the limited mentality. People must be very insecure in their ideas if they actually have to ban critics from expressing alternative ideas.
And what is the significance of Serpent Mound?
Well, Serpent, the first and foremost thing is it's an incredible, beautiful, amazing site, which everybody who can get to Ohio should go and see. It's just a most incredible place. But secondly, there are indications that it's much older than it's supposed to be, and that has particularly to do with the way that the jaws of the serpent line up to the setting sun, and because the changing positions of the sunset due to changes in the Earth's motion.
So this is it here?
That's it there. We're looking at that's the head of the serpent, and is looking straight at the setting sun. And this alignment was perfect about 12,500 years ago. It's slightly off today, and that's because of changes in the rising point of the sun over thousands and thousands of years. And that's what they don't like. They don't want Serpent Mound to be older. There's one group of archaeologists think it's just 1,000 years old. Another group think, well, maybe it's 2,500 or 3,000 years old. But the notion that it might be 12,000 years old is something they don't want anybody to hear, really.
And is the evidence that it's 12,000 years old just based with the alignment of the sun, or is there other evidence?
No, there's other evidence as well. There's material from that time that have been found at Serpent Mound, but archaeologists consider it to be irrelevant to the date of Serpent Mound.
Yeah, material, like what kind of material?
Carbon datable material, objects, bits of wood that were burnt. People were there, people were doing stuff. It's clear that site has been constructed and reconstructed multiple times over thousands and thousands of years. And this is a theme that I've found throughout making Ancient Apocalypse, that when you look at a particular site, what you're looking at is the latest incarnation of that site. But the site itself has been sacred for millennia, and it needs repair, it needs renovation, particularly if it's an earthen mound like Serpent Mound.
And so that is a theme that does seem to be repeated even under modern accepted archaeological understandings of ancient sites, like the Parthenon and the Acropolis.
Well, less so.
Less so in terms of the timeline.
Less so in terms of the timeline. I mean, one of the sites we visited for the series is an incredible pyramid in Mexico, at a place called Cholula. And it is, in fact, the largest pyramid in the world. Very few people have even heard of it, but it's a much bigger pyramid than the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. It's not as high, but its footprint is massive. So it's a huge, humongous thing sitting there on the ground. And it turns out that inside it are 4 other pyramids that were built on top of what we see and what we see now. What we see now was built on top of those older pyramids. And then at the very heart of it is a sort of sacred spring that seems to have been the reason for the creation of that. And we again explore the possibility that the origins of this site may be much older than the archaeological dating.